Infinite money glitch. Hello everyone, welcome back to this week's gaming news. There's quite a bit that I want to talk about, and so let's just jump in, shall we? So, to first begin news, we're going to talk about Activision-Blizzard again, but this time we're going to talk about Overwatch 2 and not how the company treats its female employees. Anyway, so Overwatch 2's release date may be further away than expected, and this further solidifies my conspiracy theory that this game was literally announced only to dissuade people from thinking about the whole Blitzchung situation back a few years ago. And yeah, that's just basically my thoughts on this. Sure, do I think an Overwatch 2 would have come out eventually? Absolutely, but you know, they probably should have announced this like maybe now, you know? Because then if it comes out in like 1-2 years, that's great, but it's what, almost, it might come out in 4 or 5 years, at least from when it was initially announced. And yeah, so I just basically think that Activision-Blizzard is a scummy company, and I really wish the old Blizzard would come back. That would only, you know, require them to separate from Activision and then get the goodwill of the people back by doing constantly good things. But, you know, it's gonna take some time. Now, I gotta dunk on Blizzard Activision just a little bit more, but basically Diablo 2 Remastered won't allow peer-to-peer play because Blizzard cites security reasons. And basically fans are saying, nah, it's just a DRM style control, and that's basically it at this point. Because this isn't a, like, competitive game. I'd get if Blizzard didn't want a competitive game to have peer-to-peer because that could potentially risk competitive integrity. But this is a PvE game with co-op, and so I just feel like Blizzard's doing this for a specific reason, and I hate to think pessimistically, but they're basically doing it to make it DRM style. So you can't play offline, or you can't play online between your friends' computers, and you know, you don't have to go through Blizzard servers. But basically, this game essentially gets tied down then to Blizzard whether or not they keep the servers up for the game. Because if they drop those servers, you know, you're not going to be able to play the game, at least online with your friends. So, you know, I push that games should have peer-to-peer, particularly PvE games. Or allow people to set up servers for the games, so, you know, maybe like Titanfall, you know, you could have your own servers, but developers won't do that because that does take time and money, and when you do it, people don't pay you for that update. People just build their own servers and then you don't get any of the money. Now, sure, that increases the longevity of a game, but it doesn't make you money, so, you know. Blizzard Activision, bad, they just want money. And finally, for Activision Blizzard news, Vanguard, or Call of Duty Vanguard, might have an open beta soon, and nobody play this game. Please, guys, stop. Don't give Blizzard Activision any attention. But that's basically my rant, and it's going back to World War II, and yeah, don't play this. Please. Just don't give them money. Please, please. And also, Call of Duty's bad. Please, please. Is that an Ultra Kill reference? So, next thing I want to talk about is the Apex Legends dev, Daniel Klein, was fired over past sexist and racist comments. And so, basically in the title, or subtitle, the Battle Royale designer called women morons and equated Africans with animals. And yeah, if I were just to say that with zero context, yeah, that'd be pretty bad. But so, Daniel Klein, the used to be lead designer of Apex Legends, was fired from Respawn after screenshots of his old blog post was made public. And yeah, as I just mentioned before about the women and African American people, or Africans in general, yeah, that was just, yeah, so basically, yeah, EA basically fired him over this from comments that were made in 2007. And now, of course, I think people can change, right? And so, if somebody said something stupid basically 14 years ago, people can change. And I am willing to say that, yes, that is possible. However, not only was he 27 around this time, but also, yeah, you don't usually change when you're that old. And not only that, he didn't even take down the old blog post. You know, so it's kind of complicated, you know. If somebody says something mildly stupid like, oh, women are like lower than men, and then they were like, oh yeah, I don't believe that anymore, that's obviously just wrong, I'd be willing to forgive them, especially after 14 years, but he was 27 around the time. He should have known better. And then also the fact he kept it up, like, what are you doing? And so, oh my gosh, it's just bad. So basically, if there's one thing EA seems to be really good at, is firing people that do or say very bad things online compared to Activision-Blizzard and Ubisoft and Riot. So if there's one thing I will give EA, they are pretty good at keeping up with this kind of thing, but can y'all stop, monetizing your games to the point of being absolutely crazy? Just a thought. So, up next, I do want to talk about Abandoned, basically the supposed PT game that was commissioned by Konami, and yeah, that wasn't the case. Basically, a bunch of rumors were coming out, oh, this is the next PT, and, Hideo Kojima's not doing it, some other company, and yeah, basically, that's actually not what happened, but, as you can see, SkillUp says, absolutely fuck Abandoned at this point, holy shit. The court of public opinion isn't looking so great. Because yeah, they basically just said trailer coming soon instead of showing a trailer. And so, there are some Japanese companies and a few game trailers I remember where they were like, oh, on this day we'll release a trailer date. But at least they were transparent about that, right? They weren't like, oh, trailer coming up soon, guys. And then they put out a release date and then it's just, oh, trailer's coming on this day. They actually just said the trailer date, or when we're going to announce the trailer date, it's going to be on this day. And then that date's going to actually show when the trailer's going to come up. So, obviously, a lot of people are starting to lose faith in the project, and obviously they're just like, what the hell's going on? And so, basically at this point, Abandoned will have to do a lot to just make sure that it doesn't lose, the complete public court opinion, and basically be able to, get people to play it. So, we'll see whether or not they are capable of doing that, but the more they do this, the less likely people will be willing to give it a shot. Up next with more GTA news, GTA 5 will reportedly run at 4K and 60 FPS on the PS5, and I'm assuming there's also going to be other options essentially where they're going to let you do, 1080p for 120 FPS, and yeah, but at this point it kind of solidifies the fact that GTA is never going to be, or GTA 6 is never going to be announced or released, because GTA 5 just makes the money. It constantly makes the money, and people will continue playing it, so, oh well. Up next, we're going to talk about the GTA Remastered Trilogy, which consists of GTA 3, San Andreas, and Vice City. And so, hey, those are pretty good games from what I was told. I've never really been into open world games, but, GTA is going to get these 3 games remastered, so that's pretty cool. It's going to supposedly come for the Nintendo Switch, run on the Unreal Engine, and come out maybe this year? Rumors have been flying around. Not entirely sure, but it looks interesting nevertheless, but again, just make GTA 6. I know why you won't, because GTA 5 online makes you so much money, so I get why you won't, but come on guys, you could just make another, single player experience and then just transfer over online into GTA 6 graphics and whatnot. I know you can do it, guys. Come on, Rockstar. But, they're going to do what they're going to do, so GTA Remastered. If you haven't played the games, go ahead and play it. Next up in the news, Nintendo being Nintendo orders a site to destroy all its games. Or else. So, for anybody that knows Nintendo and their general trends with people selling or putting ROMs up for their games, yeah, people know that they don't take kindly to it. Not only do they not take kindly to the fact that people, put their ROMs online, any fan games, cease and desist letters up the wazoo. And so, yeah, this is nothing new. However, though, I just think that if Nintendo's going to try to pull this stunt, they really should, put their games up again online. Majority of the DS library and GBA library is kind of just dead. At least, some of the games haven't been re-released, on the Switch console. GBA games, I feel like, would just be easy to put up there. Now, I could, of course, just be talking out of my ass here, but I just don't think it'd be that hard. DS games, I 100% get how they really can, because the DS is one-of-a-kind kind of console compared to like the Xbox 360 and PS3, where they're functionally the same in what they could do. The DS was really revolutionary for its time. So, I get certain things can't happen, but, you can't complain about people wanting ROMs and then, try to send cease and desist letters online for ROM sites. So, I mean, come on, Nintendo. If you want to pull this stunt, you got to be selling the games first on your own store. So basically, figure out a way to get DS players to, or how to get Switch players to get DS games, on your system. People then 100% buy it. I know I'd buy Bowser's Inside Story, Endor, Dragon Quest IX all over again. Yeah, I know I'm dumb, but I like those games as a kid. I'm just saying. Up next, on the opposite side of the spectrum, Team Fortress 2 fans are rebuilding the game with the latest tech. And, yeah, unlike Nintendo, Valve doesn't really have an issue with people, you know, taking some of their games and kind of rebuilding or remaking new things. Such as Hunt Down the Freeman, you know. They were allowed to make that, but it was an awful game. You know, Half-Life Black Mesa, basically, is also allowed too, and you know, Valve seems to be okay with it, you know? So, TF2 basically being rebuilt from the ground up, that makes sense. But I just don't know if it's going to be popular, first off, because I don't know how many people actually know this. I only kind of found out about this recently, and yeah, I'm not sure if this will pick up Steam. You get it, Steam. But so, you know, the original TF2 might still just, you know, pull in the numbers, while the newest, you know, reiteration of Team Fortress 2 will maybe get some people, maybe professionals, but like, it's not going to get anybody, you know, casual, you know. But we'll have to see if Valve will actually do anything with the franchises, or like 2K and Rockstar, basically just allow the game to continue prospering in its state right now, you know, without making a new game. I just think that, particularly Team Fortress 2, you can make TF3, basically just import everything from TF2, and then just put it on the Source 2 engine. People will literally buy that. I know people will buy that. You don't even have to make it free to play. Just make people buy it, make it free to play like 2-3 years. Bam, easy money. It's literally so simple, Valve. I know how you can make money off of this, but you know, obviously Valve's gonna do what Valve's gotta do, so they're not gonna make a TF3 for the foreseeable future, nor are they gonna make Half-Life 3 in the foreseeable future. So they just continue, you know, working on the Steam Deck, working on Steam, and it's disappointing, honestly, but yeah, I'd be fine with them not making a TF3 if they were continuously updating TF2, but that's not the case. So, that's life. We'll just have to deal with it. Up next, I like to talk about Boyfriend Dungeon. Basically, it promises to update its inadequate content warnings, and yeah, that's about it. Basically, the game has a ton of things, or not a ton, but has a few things in there that basically would be seen as potentially not great to look at if you're, you know, triggered by it, and so the content warnings weren't there, and people really want it to be there. Now, of course, there are some people that are saying, yeah, you should just not put it in there, and I don't think that's the right move. You know, if they put content warnings saying, there's this, and this in here, and then you still go into it, and then you get triggered by that content, that's your fault. Because, now, prior to this, where they didn't have the content warnings, and then you get triggered by it, yes, it's the fault of the developer not telling you. A great example of this is Doki Literature Club, where basically they said, yeah, this shit's kind of fucked up. And so, they let you know that before the game starts, literally in the title screen, and they're like, yeah, there's going to be some disturbing content, don't proceed if you're easily scared. And I think that's great. Boyfriend Dungeon, if they did that, that's also great too, but they didn't, but at least they're trying to remedy their, you know, problems. So, they will handle it, and hopefully the game will just be fine. Everybody's taking the copium. Marvel's Avengers is not going to survive for that long. But who knows? If it does, Spider-Man may, you know, bring the defibrillators and revive them. Who knows? But basically, I don't have any faith in this. Personally speaking. The next thing on the list I want to talk about, Remedy and Epic Games, they're supposedly going to make Alan Wake 2. And I think that's pretty cool. The original Alan Wake was pretty interesting for its time, and it kind of solidified Remedy's image of being a really, really odd company. In the good way. Now, of course, not to say that Alan Wake's the only good game. Control was really good. Quantum Break was an interesting concept, kind of poorly executed. So, you know, Remedy going back to kind of its roots, or at least the game that really solidified them in the industry, I think that's kind of cool, but how are they going to continue the story? I don't know, but I hope Remedy keeps their weird style of games up, because that's what really makes them unique and what's made their games really interesting. That's why Quantum Break didn't do too well, because it was kind of, you know, set in reality almost, right? Sure, there is not really abilities to go back in time and whatnot, but, you know, it was trying to go for a more realistic approach in a modern setting. But, you know, Alan Wake and Control, sure, it might take place in a modern setting or somewhere in the recent past, but it's really weird and it's really interesting. So I hope Alan Wake 2 kind of follows the original Alan Wake and Control. So, that is the end of this week's news. There's a lot to look forward to, and I hope that I get to report on all of it. I also hope that Blizzard Activision gets their shit together and stops harassing women in the workplace. And yeah, there's a lot of things that will be coming up soon, hopefully. And hopefully I'll be doing a review of some of these games that come out. if Metroid Special Edition ever comes out, you know, I'll grab that, but it's never coming out.